أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على قتلتهم وأعدائهم أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, my name is al-Habib, live to you from the minor land of 𝗦𝗦𝗕𝗦𝗦𝗧. Welcome back to the al-Habib show. In remembrance and to relay the news once again for those who are not aware and haven't been tuning in, the Lady of Heaven film release date is set for December 10th to be screened at select theatres in the United States, namely at your local AMC theatre. In this show, ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure and we are pleased to open the ground for you. No, there won't be any research today, there won't be any controversial topic presented. It will be your show, as we've been having multiple requests to have an open show since it's been a while since we have opened the show, where we take your calls, receive your questions, and be of service, hopefully. However, just slightly before we open the lines, I'd like to touch on a very important question that is often asked by our supporters, which is that how can we support this film? I've seen these questions by people from around the world, from France, from Germany, from Holland, the Netherlands, from America. And of course, I'm not mentioning Arab countries because this is where our powerhouse is. All around the world, they've been asking, what is the correct way to serve the lady and help disseminate the word on the Lady of Heaven film? I would say, firstly, go no further than contacting the number displayed on the screen. I request from the director, Subhan, to display the WhatsApp number on the screen. Go no further than contacting this number and writing a message stating that you want to be part in this journey. You want to have a role in film dissemination for the word of Lady Fatima to reach the world. We must ensure that we make the required noise, we make the required clamor for the people to have attention, for the people, so that we may take people's attention towards the film and help really convey this message that has been suppressed for a very long time, over a millennium. Go no further than contacting the number below, and from there an individual from the team would be responding to you and directing you. If you live in the United States, you would be put in a certain group where there is certain activities specialized for those who live in the United States. There will be certain activities, there will be certain roles that you'll be taken, as well, that we will be taken we'll be taken unique measures to promote the film and disseminate it. As for those who live other than in the United States, for example, in Canada, in France, Germany, Belgium, and the neighboring countries of Europe, there is also roles for you to take. Essentially, we must become what they call internet bees, in activity, in motivation, spreading and utilizing our platforms, the social media, utilizing all social media to spread word on the lady and attract the Westerners first to the film rather than Muslims. Because as you know, this film is really directed, in essence, towards the West. The West is our main targets for them to recognize and realize that the religion of Islam is not how it is portrayed on media. It is far from the teachings of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, the Prophet of Islam. And these actions that you see from Muslims do not represent the religion, rather they represent figures who came after the Prophet Muhammad, usurping power, power-hungry figures who sought to destroy the religion of Islam from within. And namely, these figures are Abu Bakr, Umar, Aisha, Hafsa, and the likes. Like we said, in this film would really change world's understanding. This film would revolutionarily, you can say, change the understandings of the West. Soon we would realize and see debates occurring as to who killed the Prophet, blessings be upon him. Was it his wife or the Jews? Who killed the messenger? A portion of Muslims today say that he died, the messenger died via poison by a Jewish woman 3 years prior to his death. So the poison was running through his body throughout 3 years, from the battle of Khaybar until after Hunayn, the battle of Hunayn. The poison was running through his body until it took effect in his later years. This is their claim here, and we are not straw manning in any way, shape, or form. And the others, the Shias, the Muslims here say that no, the messenger was not killed by a Jew, nor was he killed by a Jewish woman. Rather, he was assassinated and killed via a conspiracy by namely Aisha, Hafsa, Abu Bakr and Umar, these 4 conspirators, and they assassinated him. How they assassinated him was via giving him poison. Abu Bakr, like we said before, he is a very shrewd politician. He is smart, and when one reads history, when one reads, for example, the history of the Roman Empire, reads history of, for example, certain civilizations, even British civilizations, and governments, as well as other goes in depth, let's say, in political history, goes and reads these governments and how they formed and what's happened and what's occurred. They'd realize that this is a pattern here. This is actually a pattern that occurs quite often, where the individuals or the people close to the figure ending up assassinating him, poisoning him. Just like, for example, the father of Alexander the Great, as they call him. The father of Alexander the Great was poisoned by his vanguard, or sorry, not vanguard, but close figures, let's say, close personnel. And what happened to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wa alihi is no different in that regard. Abu Bakr, Umar, being power-hungry individuals, as well as very wicked and shrewd, they sought to poison the messenger, blessings be upon him and his progeny, in order to get him out the way and actually usurp the power. And we realize that this matter was really engineered and structured very shrewdly, very schemely by Abu Bakr and Umar. And that will be portrayed in the film. The Lady of Heaven film will portray and relay this story for the people, for them to realize that from the outset, Abu Bakr ibn Abi Quhafa, Umar ibn al-Khattab, they knew that their future and their means to power is through this individual, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. And you'd see that from the outset of the film. Our duty, like we said, is to show this narrative that has been suppressed for over a millennium. Why is it that we can't display our narrative? Why is it that our narrative is always silenced? Why is it that we always can't speak? Certain restrictions, certain sensitivity, they would say, but the other sect, namely Sunni Islam, what is referred to as Sunni Islam, because we don't recognize them to be Sunnis in reality, in essence, they are allowed to say the word, they are allowed to make films, movies, series about Umar ibn al-Khattab alike, whilst our narrative is not allowed to be there. This is no longer, ladies and gentlemen, this is no longer, and this is our time to relay the message of Muhammad and his purified progeny through our narrative, through the light of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. We have a golden corpus. We have a literature that cannot be estimated and could not be a price. It is appriceable. That's even a term. You can't really specify a price for such literature, such golden, rich literature. So we, I believe that we're going to have a call in a moment. Inshallah, we'll take it. We have this literature that is very different to that in the opposite sect's corpus. It is different. It is more detailing. It is more. How can I relay it to you? I would say it's very difficult to relay these ideas or relay these in words. I would just say, go forth and read yourself. Read our corpus, read our books of biography, read the character of the Messenger, blessings be upon him, from the light of Ahlul Bayt, from the guidance and from the teachings of Ahlul Bayt. What was his character like? What did he do? What did he not do? What did he teach? How did he practice the dissemination of his religion? Was he really, ayadhan billah, a warlord? Was he an individual such as what Aisha depicts in her horrid, sordid, obscene narrations, ayadhan billah? Was he like what Abu Hurairah and Anas bin Malik used to say, that he used to practice torturing against the people? Is that the character of the Messenger, or was the Messenger, blessings be upon him, a mercy to mankind, as the Quran states? And you'd realize this, that once you read the narrations of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, from 𝗙𝗎𝗓 al-Sadiq, Musa al-Kadhim, Ali Zayn al-Abidin, Muhammad al-Baqir, when you read the narrations of, and when you take the character of the Messenger, blessings be upon him, through his grandsons, you'd realize that they are conforming with the Quran. Whereas when you read the narrations of the opponent sect, you'd realize that they are not in conformity with the Quran, rather they go absolutely against it. They go absolutely against it. The Quran, for example, states that those who say that you have been bewitched, they have lied. In Surah Furqan, paraphrasing the meaning of the verse. Whereas in Bukhari it says that Aisha narrates that the Prophet was bewitched for 6 months, saying revelation which he then said that it was actually from the devil, saying or doing actions or thinking that he done certain actions which he did not do. This is the narration of Aisha. So Bukhari and Aisha teaches that the Prophet was bewitched. The Quran defies that and completely negates that matter from happening. There's a clear contradiction, there's a clear clash between the narrative of the Quran and the narrative of Aisha and the so-called Sunni sect. Whereas if you were to look into the narrations of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, those who the Messenger himself told us to take religion from, where he stated clearly in the sermon of Hadith al-Thaqalayn, the known Hadith al-Thaqalayn, in his final sermon, where he stated that I leave behind me 2 weighty things, the Quran and my Ahlul Bayt, alayhimus salam. Go to the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam to recognize and take the understanding of your religion, and he'd realize that his character and the character of the Messenger, blessings be upon him, through the light of Ahlul Bayt, through the narrations of Ahlul Bayt, are very much in conformity with the Quran, and very much as the Quran described him to be, a mercy to mankind.
So sorry to interrupt, we have a caller.
We have a caller. Okay, inshallah we will take the caller, but after that we will also display a video of Abdul-Malik, brother Abdul-Malik, where when he went to Cannes and received the award, and then went to interview the people at Cannes. And I want people to ponder upon that video. But before taking the video or displaying the video, let's have a caller, inshallah. Who's with us?
Brother Haidar from Canada.
Brother Haidar from Canada. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you doing, dear brother?
Habibi, my dear brother, are you good?
Inshallah. Alhamdulillah, I am well. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. I'm very excited for this movie to be portrayed for the whole world to see.
May Allah bless you.
I'm a great supporter of this movie.
May Allah bless you,
Habibi.
inshallah. I am glad that you have called on the show.
Of course I would. Of course.
How are you?
These are my people.
How's
I'm
things?
good.
How's
good.
things? You're well,
I appreciate
inshallah.
it.
You will have a role, inshallah. You will have a role in this campaign, this global campaign of sharing the word, inshallah.
Inshallah, God willing. Habibi, I had a question, if you do not mind.
Of course, go ahead, inshallah.
So I am shocked that nowadays that the people around me, the Shia people around me, are having problems with this movie and contradictions. They come and tell me, I don't know if this movie is going to portray all the right, events that happened. I don't know if this is going to cause a problem. This is going to cause war. And these are the Shia brothers talking to me. If a Sunni brother would come talk to me, it's a whole different issue. If a Shia brother comes and tells me this about his own lady of heaven, his own master, his own Ahlul Bayt, what do I do? What do I say? How do I answer someone like this?
I mean, if an individual really believes that this film would cause war, I mean, what can you do other than educate him, really? I mean, this individual is really coming from a perspective that is very backwards, I would say. What can you say to such a proposition, to such thoughts? I would say, without trying to ridicule those who have this type of understanding, I would say this understanding is false and very unrealistic. There are plenty of films that have been put on cinema that are degrading to the Messenger himself, blessings be upon him and his family. And they, al-Habib people, have made a series on Umar ibn al-Khattab, a 30-episode series that was aired in the month of Ramadan a few years ago. No outspark happened, nothing happened. It is natural that this film, due to its profound message, it will change a lot of understandings. It will change the Western look towards the Messenger and his family and the religion of Islam as a whole. That is correct. We are aiming for that and we call for that, indeed. However, if one wants to say that this is a film that will, spark war and do this, I would say, with the deepest respect, you are very far-sighted from reality. No such thing would occur. And what will happen in reality, is that there will be a new understanding, a new light that emerges through this film to the Western world and to Muslims alike. Many Muslims today, they do not know who killed the Messenger. They don't know even how did the Messenger die. Did the Messenger die a natural death? Was he assassinated? Was he poisoned, killed by a Jewish woman? How did he die? There is a lot of ambiguousness with regards to the death of the Messenger. This film will portray who killed the Messenger, and it's based upon the narrations and academic, historical, correct sources. And like we said before, and we've opened this challenge for anyone who deems himself worthy and deems himself a researcher, to come at a later phase where the film is, released and they know the scenes of the film, and come try and, debate us on these scenes. Each and every single scene, and mark my words here, and when the film comes out, this can be sufficed with ease. Each and every single scene in the film is backed by historical sources, historical narrations. We spent, as the executive producer have said, we've spent meticulous time on the research. We have 2 volumes. Let me tell you this. We have 2 huge folders, as far as I recall. Either 1 huge folder or 2 huge folders on the historical research behind the film. We did not restrict ourselves to the narrations, the incidents. For example, obviously the life of the Messenger, blessings be upon him and his progeny, the incidents, the events that occurred, the Battle of Uhud, which is represented in the film, the Pledge of Ghadir, for example, how he entered Medina, that's also in the film, and other scenes which, inshallah, I can say. So those in the trailer, for example, the wedding and how it occurred. What did Imam Ali alayhi salam do in the life of the Messenger in Medina? What was his type of work? What was happening? There are also a depiction of Jews, the Jews of Medina, and how did the Messenger treat them? How did the Messenger be with them, etc. There's a lot of aspects that are in this film, lots of things. So we did not restrict to these narrations just to suffice these scenes with narrations. No, we went further to go through obviously this is natural in this film industry. We go after the work, we go after the clothing, we go after the armory, we go after the obviously the garments and how they used to dress. We went to certain degrees that even those who should be acquainted with such detail in the cinema industry, in the cinematic industry, they went forth to say this is actually a little bit too much. This is a bit too detailed here. And we have a guidelines that they have to stick to this volume, this huge folder. You don't go outside of it. This is how you do it, and this is exactly how we want the film to be portrayed. So if one was to come and say after all of this, and these things will come out, by the way, these things are not going to be restricted to the al-Habib show. There will be videos where that is portrayed. There will be, the behind the scenes that will come out. Like we said, there is work being planned, and this is, in a matter of time, these things will be accessible for the people. You will see the behind the scenes of how we recorded the film. You would see interviews with the producer, executive producers. You would see multiple things that you would understand and gather from it that, no, this film was really, it's 5 long years worth of work. And it will be, like we said, it will be a fascinating, phenomenal film from all aspects. Muslims worldwide, after watching the film, we understand their concern, etc. But after watching the film and after seeing the reality, I would say that they would come to the realization that this is very much a necessary step and a remarkable achievement for Islam and the Muslims in this century that we are in. And I would say let the success have its noise when the release of the film December 10th comes. And from there, we're opening the show, or we're opening the line, and for anyone to come and speak. But get it right. This film is founded by historical evidences, and what you have in your minds, that this film is this film is that, you are very much mistaken, and time will prove. You still with me, Brother Haidar?
Yes, of course. Ahsant, dear brother.
If you have
beautiful answer.
Anything further to say?
Brother, thank you for your answer.
No
that
problem,
was,
inshallah.
I will use this one. Just one curiosity that came to me. Will there be any wars in that movie, like a historical war in that movie?
Yes, the
Battle of Jamal,
The Battle of Uhud is there. The battle, it is a fascinating, beautifully recorded battle. It is the Battle of Uhud, which is the battle with the Messenger, blessings be upon him, and the pagans of Quraysh. It is the second battle that occurred in the life of the messenger. The Battle of Jamal is not in the film because this is not in the historical span. Because here the film is targeted at the span of the life of Lady Fatima, blessings be upon her, all the way till after her martyrdom. The Battle of the Camel occurred 25 years after the death of the messenger, namely in the year 36 AH, after Hijrah. So the Battle of the Camel is not there in the film, but the Battle of the Camel is there. I like the battles with ISIS and the 𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗓𝗕𝗦𝗧. That is also depicted in the film. So there is action, definitely. Yeah.
Inshallah, brother. Thank you so much for answering my questions. It was very nice to speak to you again. Inshallah, I get to see you.
May Allah bless you, inshallah. We are looking forward for you to come again to the UK and visit us at the minor land, inshallah.
My dear brother, we dream about this day every single day.
May Allah bless you and protect you, inshallah. Send my salams to your father, and your Rafidi brother. I saw his video. May Allah bless him, inshallah, and protect him.
Habibi. Thank you, brother.
Take care. May Allah bless
you.
Dear brothers and sisters, we will be displaying to you a video of Brother Abdul Malik, and then after that we will open the lines for you and receive your questions from the YouTube chat. Is the video ready, Subhan? Can you confirm?
Yeah, it's ready.
Video is ready. Let's display it, inshallah, on the screen.
Max. Merci. Thank you.
I'm so happy to see the Lady of Heaven. Amazing trailer today. Thank you so much for sharing this at the Cannes Film Festival. For me, I thought it was very epic in proportion, and also it had such a great faith element. I did not know that much about this special Fatima. The story, the narrative of who she was and how she fought to help others, and seeing the images, you were telling a story with beautiful kind of like ideas, the white garments that were so beautiful and all those people marching, and then the scale of the movie with the amazing army that was fighting, I thought was really quite great, and the way that was orchestrated, the movement of the movie was great.
The story to me was something that I never knew that existed.
All right.
So just watching the trailer and seeing the history of what took place and the shame that these women had was very impactful to me, because I'm really a supporter of women. I think that stood out to me, that a lady at that time stood up to men who were in charge. I'm just going to say, you know what, I'm a big supporter of it. I didn't know what to expect, but it's going to be a great movie.
It's nicely photographed and it's nicely executed. And you see that it's a very, very good film.
So it was the quality that stood out to you the most? The quality of the production?
Yeah, the quality of production is great.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Excellent. And yourself, sir?
Yeah, same. I think the quality of the production is very good.
Yo, you guys gotta really check this out, man. Yo, it's epic. Epic. The soundtrack alone.
Soundtrack?
Yes.
That's what stood out to you?
Yes.
Lovely.
I know that when it drops, I'm definitely checking it out.
I think it's going to be a really interesting, fascinating movie, and definitely about a person and a subject a lot of people in Western Europe don't have actually any knowledge about. So I think already from this cultural and religious aspect, it's something really worthwhile to watch. So I think already from the educational aspect, that's a great movie. And I congratulate you for
Thank you. Do you have any last comments, anything you'd like to add?
Good luck. And
Thank you.
Do more movies like that.
More movies like this. We will do, no worries.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
May I give an example?
To become a treasured family keepsake and leave a legacy to live forever.
Mind-blowing. I mean, the special effects, the CGI was just incredible, and it's definitely a story that needs to be told. And it really lifted me up by my lapels. Oh boy, just some of those battle scenes were incredible, and then there were just some that were very misty and incredible.
The cinematography was brilliant.
The cinematography was brilliant,
Have you heard of the lady before, Lady Fatima?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You've heard of her before?
Yeah, and then no one has told that story on I spent a lot of time in the Middle East, and so she's on the tips of a lot of tongues.
Yeah, Middle East, they're familiar with her. Outside, not so much. So we're trying to solve that with this film.
Yeah,
lovely.
Great.
Thanks.
You do very, very well.
Thank you so much.
Good luck to you.
The Lady Fatima, the Lady Heaven. Have you ever heard of her prior to this event? First time you heard?
What I really like is that it's working with two different timelines, so it's working in two different time zones.
Yeah,
and it has
present and history.
Present and history, and how it tries to combine that.
It is inspiring, and I think this Lady Fatima, she's a strong woman, or she was a strong woman who was inspiring people and is inspiring people today as well.
Definitely.
So this is something that really got me, and what also got me was it felt like tribes, you know, those men fighting each other, this war stuff.
You're going to think I'm making this up, but I actually had goosebumps. It's epic, and that's quite rare these days. You know, films that say they're epic, they always end up being really close and intimate. A beautiful color palette, beautiful cinematography, and the narrative, the way it's brought into the present day, based on these extraordinary historical events, things I didn't know about at all. It's an unusual one, actually, that people don't describe often, but I felt pathos. This feeling of human connection and the importance of selfless acts.
Have you ever heard of the lady prior to this event?
No, actually, I didn't know she existed. And I was asking you, is this really a historical figure? Is this a person that existed? And now I'm going to be Googling it and finding out the story. And congratulations.
Fascinating, promising video that really uplifts the spirits. You would realize all these individuals in the cinematic industry, actors, producers, from all of their backgrounds and experiences, comment on this film as being fascinating, as being phenomenal, as being the colors. They spoke of the colors, they spoke of the soundtrack, they spoke of the battle scenes, and indeed, and most importantly, they spoke of the lady and her story. What really took my attention is the individual who said that I've heard the name of Lady Fatima before, which is different than the one who has not heard the name of the lady. He says, I heard the name of the lady. I heard of the lady, and I've been in the Middle East. However, I did not hear the story before. And this is a great motivation for us to relay the message of the lady and convey her stance, her powerful stance against oppression and injustice, and give her sacrifice its right. Let the people know the sacrifice of Lady Fatima, blessings be upon her, for humanity in her stand against injustice, tyranny, and oppression. Very soon, like we said, very soon, people will be struck by this story, and come December 10th, the noise will louden, and as the weeks go by, as the film is being displayed, screened in New York, in Los Angeles, in Texas, in all of the states of the United States, as a first preliminary step to the international release, you would realize that this is a great, remarkable achievement, and something that history would definitely record as being a point which absorbed change in humanity. I would really wish to say that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are opening the show for you today. Now we have opened the lines. Subhan, please display the number on the screen. I am now looking at the YouTube chat. I see the brothers and sisters who are tuning in. I'm ready to receive your questions. Any questions you have about the film or otherwise, I'm happy, inshallah, to respond if capable.
Can I add to that, please?
Yeah, of course, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that if you're watching right now, please be sure to like and subscribe. It really does help with the channel and the algorithm. And if you can, comment after the stream and during the stream as well, just to get the stream promoted more and inshallah bringing more people to the channel.
Ahsantum.
Thank you.
We see Brother Isa Muhammad or Isa Muhammad, perhaps. I'm watching all the way from Karbala. May Allah bless you, dear brother, and protect you. And please go to the shrine of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam, which I had just had the honor of visiting in Arba'in, and go to Abu Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through them to grant us success, to grant us the ability, and grant us the tawfiq and the honor of serving the lady and conveying her profound message to the world. May Allah bless you, dear brother. I see release dates for Australia. Release dates for Australia will be specified in a time after the release of the Lady of Heaven film in the US. Like we said before, the US release is a preliminary step towards the international, worldwide, global release. After the US is the UK, is the United Kingdom. And after that, in a casual effect, in what they call in philosophy, a casual effect, other countries, it goes wide and wide and wide until it's a global release. It's a global film that is available in multiple countries and hopefully worldwide. And like we said, we are not going to, limit ourselves. We will ensure, inshallah, one way or another, for the lady's voice to be conveyed to people worldwide. And inshallah, we are up to our word. And after the theoretical release in the cinemas, it will be followed by an online release on streaming services. Assalamu alaikum. Do you know if they will show the film in Sweden? Again, Brother Amir, after inshallah the Lady of Heaven release in the US, because that is the first preliminary step towards the international release. After that, inshallah, the film will be accessible for countries of Europe in a casual effect. So in time, the film will be definitely, inshallah, available in Sweden, and that will be announced whether in cinemas or online on streaming services. Brother Ali from Brother Alpha. Brother Ali, I have a question. If someone were to die out of grief while watching this movie, would they be considered a shaheed? Definitely, this film is a film that we do fear for those who are to have weak hearts and those who are unable to take and can become very affected by a story. We do fear for them to be really affected by the film. Hopefully no one will die. A shaheed is one who... A shaheed, you can translate it as a witness. One who witnesses, you can say also. There's many definitions. But in that regard, shaheed is man shahid al-Jannah. Those who, when they die, they witness paradise. They see paradise. You can say that is a understanding of shaheed. Obviously, there's the shaheed in battle, there's the shaheed in etc. But in a general sense, let's hope that no one, inshallah, will die. We hope that this film would be a film that awakens the hearts of the people, definitely with its profound, deep story. But we hope for all to be safe and to be healthy, inshallah, and to be motivated after watching this film.
I'm going to try to show the YouTube chat, so I'm just working on that
Yep,
right
sure,
now.
go ahead, inshallah. Brother, I was just asking, is it okay to project the face of the Prophet in the film? The face of the Prophet, blessings be upon him, and his progeny, was not carried or taken by an actor. The face of the Prophet was, it is permissible according to the verdicts of Sayyid Sistani and Sayyid 𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗕𝗦𝗧 and other maraja, to depict the Messenger, blessings be upon him, according to the narrations as much as we could, and in a way that is befitting, in a way that has no hetsk, no form of deficiency. Anything that is not suitable for the face of the Messenger or face of the holy figures as a whole, that is not permissible. Anything that is not, pleasant, or something that is would be seen as inappropriate, that is not permissible. However, if one was to go through creative means to create a face of the Messenger or face of a holy figure as a whole, that is permissible, according to the verdicts of Sayyid 𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗕𝗦𝗧 and Sayyid Sistani and other scholars. What in our film, as we've mentioned before, is that no actor took the role of a holy figure. No, not one actor took the role of a holy figure. The holy figures were achieved through unique means, through unique synthesis of actors, lighting, camera effects, and CGI, visual effects. And you will see it, hopefully, and I believe we have a picture. We have a picture of the face of the Messenger that was uploaded on FedEx TV. Subhan, if you can speak to Brother Abu Amiri, who is sitting beside you, and to tell him to send you the picture of the created picture of the Messenger's face. Okay. And once that is ready, display that on the screen so people can realize the Messenger's face, blessings be upon him and his family, was created through CGI. And we tried our best to make the depiction according to the narrations. And what is important here to mention is that in the film, we are not claiming that this is the exact face of the Messenger. Rather, this face that is displayed, it is actually through the imagination of the child named Layth. The child named Layth, he is imagining, he is visualizing what the grandmother, his loving grandmother, a loving grandmother, is telling him. She's narrating to him a story. She's narrating to him a story that is in connection to what's happened to his mother. His mother was killed by a terrorist attack, and this grandmother tells him, why did this happen, and what is the roots to this terrorist attack, and from where do these individuals, these criminals legitimize their actions. She tells them the story of Lady Fatima and her life, and then leading up to her martyrdom and the first terrorist attack that occurred in the under the Islamic name and in Islamic history, namely by Abu Bakr and Umar. So this imagination is being visualized. This narrating, the mother narrating, the grandmother narrating the story, he's visualizing it, so he's drawing it in his mind, and that is what is occurring. So there is absolutely nothing impermissible in that. Rather, it is very good, especially that we are introducing the Messenger for the first time and making the people have effect towards the character and understand his personality, understand his role. And if the picture is ready, Subhan, you can display the picture.
The picture's The picture's not ready, but we do have a caller.
We have a caller? Okay, let's
Yeah.
take him. Let's take him, inshallah. I'll take them. Who's with us?
Brother Hussein from India.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Hussein from India.
Hello.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me, brother?
Hello.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, brother. I can hear you. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you? Welcome on the show.
Alhamdulillah, brother. Alhamdulillah, brother. What about you, brother? How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I am well. Welcome.
Brother, I have a question. Some Umri people used to say that Umar and Abu Bakr lanatullah alayh are buried near Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Okay.
So this is the proof that they are on haq. So how to reply them? Can you help me, brother?
Yes.
That's my question.
Yes, inshallah. Thank you very much for your question. I'll answer, inshallah.
Thanks a lot, brother.
May Allah bless you. Thank you very much. In response to the question, if there's another call on the line, Subhan, let me know.
There is.
Currently?
I just need to call them.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and answer, inshallah, until we ready the call. This is a very obsolete argument that the Bakri sect, those who refer to themselves as Sunnis, lunge by to prove the supposed righteousness of Abu Bakr and Umar just because they were buried next to the Messenger. It is actually a humorous claim, because if we say that one's righteousness is determined by the burial of one next to a holy figure, then that really opens a wide door for us. We can stand up and say that Harun al-Abbasi, for example, is a righteous individual, and we should revere him and respect him despite his atrocities and his oppression to the Muslims and the Ummah, and him killing Imam al-Kadhim alayhi salam in the dungeons of prison, just because he is buried next to Imam al-Rida. Imam al-Rida in Mashhad today has a tomb, and he is there, he has a grave, he has a shrine, and right beside him or next to him is Harun al-Abbasi. People may not know this. In reality, this is truth. And do we now say that, for example, just because they were buried, or Harun was buried in that land, that means we respect Harun right now, and radiyallahu anhu, may Allah bless him, just because he was buried in that ground? That is really, it really shows us the poorness of the opposite sect, the weakness of their arguments, the irrationality behind their propositions and their claims. Not because one is buried in a ground that necessitates his righteousness or their righteousness or their piety. From what Quranic verse or narration of the Messenger, blessings be upon him and his family, did you substantiate or did you extrapolate this understanding? That just because one is buried next to a holy figure, that means they must be righteous. This is a foolish claim, as well as not factual, because if that door is open, then many figures, historic figures who are, criminals, who are, have very a dark past, would be regarded as righteous and regarded as, believers, just merely for their burial next to a holy figure. And in reality, we use this event to asperse Abu Bakr and Umar, criticize them. By what right they were buried there? Who gave them the permission to be buried there? And as we know in jurisprudence, in Islamic jurisprudence, that if anyone is buried in a land that they do not own, that is very problematic. And certain jurists actually premise that the body is exhumed and taken out belong to it, do not belong to them. So they take the body out and they bury it elsewhere. This is actually a jurisprudential matter that both Muslims, Shias, and so-called Sunnis agree upon. Abu Bakr had no right to be buried there, nor was Umar. And this is just merely because Aisha, permitting that Aisha had no rights, frankly speaking. Aisha does not hold the inheritance of the Messenger. And even if that, they have the 𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗕𝗦𝗖𝗥𝗓, they have a small percentage of the land, instead of why has she suddenly taken the whole place? So this is, in essence, this is a jurisprudential matter that should be put to its side and to be put in its correct discourse, as well as the results of such burial in a unrightful, unlawful land. It has a circumstance, it has consequences. So in essence, to summarize the arguments, not because, from where did they get from where can they substantiate their claim that if one is buried next to a holy figure, they suddenly become righteous and holy and we must respect them? They must substantiate from the Quran and Sunnah, tell them. And secondly, by what right did Abu Bakr and Umar be buried there, and how could that be? And if they say Aisha, well, Aisha does not control but a small percentage of that, even if we were to say that. Why has she suddenly taken full control of the Prophet's house? So these are really big concerns. And I recommend you to refer to my episode on the character of Mu'min al-Taq. There is a video online, I believe. It is much, old, 3 years or 4 years ago, where I presented a lecture about the character of Mu'min al-Taq, one of the companions of Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, who had a debate with a somewhat renowned Bakri scholar on that regard. And that can be found on YouTube if you were to write Rafida, the pioneers of rejection, or the pioneers of the Rafida, Mu'min al-Taq. You should find that video. And from there is the full narration. If you go to the comment section, there's the full narration of the debate that's occurred, and one can really have an understanding and know exactly how to defeat those who try to come up with these obsolete arguments in order to legitimize the burial of Abu Bakr and Umar in this unlawful land, as well as to claim their righteousness merely because of their burial next to the Messenger. Blessings be upon him.
We have a caller.
We have a caller. Let's take it.
Brother Zaki from the United States.
Brother Zaki from the United States. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Can
you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you there, brother. Welcome.
Yeah, I'm very proud to call you guys. I've been watching the alHabib show for a long time. You guys, I have a lot of questions. It's just kind of, it's not, but I think it would not be like justice just to ask all the questions on the show. But I just wanted to commend you guys on the good work. And I'm actually from East Africa, from Somalia.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, and so basically, I'm about 26, 25 years old, and about 2 years ago, I came to the knowledge of the truth, and I started, and maybe the only one question I had is, and I think I probably already learned this, but when it comes to Abul Fadl al-Abbas, is he the same? Alayhi salam, is he the same as I heard there's narrations that the only thing that was different was the Nabuwa, or successorship, but he's the same as his father, Imam Ali alayhi salam, in every aspect.
This is your question regarding Abu Fadl al-Abbas?
Yeah, and just commending everything you guys do.
If you have any other question, you can go ahead, brother. No worries.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, and maybe just maybe the correct way to ask Imam Ali or ask Fatima alayhi salam for the right guidance, because I've seen the terminology, Ya Fatima. Yeah. But like, I just want to know just the correct. And
so how to seek intercession through Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, right?
Yeah, intercession. Yeah, through like worldly matters, worldly in a benefit in a way like that'll help family and just myself and financially, physically, in every aspect. One can't say you can't say without saying Imam Hussein alayhi salam, because I know he's.
Sorry, if you Subhan, if you can, the voice is very far. If you can a little bit, slightly raise the volume.
No problem.
Once again, brother, if you can.
Can you hear? Hello, can you hear me?
I hear you now. I hear you now. Go ahead.
Yeah, and just asking Imam Hussein and just Ahlul Bayt, because I heard in some narrations that some of them you go to one for this, and one specific imam or a progeny for this because they were known for generosity or truthfulness or like Imam Rida. I know he was his financial status. He was I think kind of wealthy, or I don't know, during the time of Ma'mun. But yeah, I just wanted to ask you.
I'd like to keep you on the line for a moment. I'd just like to respond quickly to your answers, and then I'd like to hear your story, because you mentioned that you are a convert through 2 years right now, right?
Yeah.
I'd really like to hear your story, inshallah. But let me just go ahead and answer your question. The first question, regarding Abu Fadl Abbas alayhi salam, is he like his father? In what essence do you mean? As in, is he an imam? Is that what you refer to?
No. I just mean like when it comes to his knowledge, his even I know he has Nasrul Basira. He can his vision can pierce anything or something towards that. I know he has. I know he was unstoppable when it comes to gracing the battlefield, and just like his father was. But in terms of, did he have all the qualities that his father did besides imamate?
Abu Fadl Abbas alayhi salam, the brother of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam through al-Baneen, the son of Imam Ali alayhi salam, is definitely one of the greatest righteous servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is mentioned in the narrations. And when we say assalamu alaikum, when we send peace to him, when we do his ziyarah, we say assalamu alayka ayyuha al-abdu as-salih al-muti'u lillahi wa li rasulih sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Peace be upon you, O righteous slave of Allah, who is obedient to Allah and His Messenger. Blessings be upon him. He has a status, blessings be upon him, that the prior prophets, according to the narration, the prior prophets are envious of. It is narrated from our Imams, blessings be upon him, that the prior prophets, Ibrahim, Isa, Musa, these giants, these holy messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, are envious from this aspect, from the aspect of his martyrdom, of how he attained martyrdom, how he served his brother al-Hussein alayhi salam till his final breath. This is al-Abbas alayhi salam, a school in itself, a school in selflessness, a school in humbleness, a school in power, a university in patience. This is al-Abbas alayhi salam ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib. He has the qualities of his father without a doubt. He has the quality of strength, the quality of wisdom, the quality of bravery, and other qualities, but he does not have the quality of imamah. For the imam of his time was al-Hussein, blessings be upon him, and he was commended in the ziyarah by his total obedience to the imam of his time, al-Hussein alayhi salam.
Right, a perfect altruism.
Sorry, say that once again.
He had perfect altruism towards his brother.
Altruism. What do you mean by that?
Altruistic, like he was fiercely loyal.
Yes.
Yeah.
In that definition.
Sorry.
Yeah. In that definition, 100%. He was fiercely loyal to the Prophet. To his brother Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. And like we said, we put his self aside. He's a school in selflessness, where he was thirsty. in the battlefield. And people often don't know that al-Abbas alayhi salam was actually one of the first to be martyred, not the last. Some individuals say that no, he was the last individual to be martyred.
Really? Wow. Interesting.
That is not factual. That is not factual according to historical readings. Shaykh al-Habib has said that according to his analysis and his readings, is that al-Abbas alayhi salam and his 3 brothers from al-Banin were amongst the first to be martyred. For al-Abbas said that it is worthy for me to die first, for me to put myself first, despite being the commander of his army, the flag bearer.
Right.
And there, when he ripped through the forces of Umar ibn Sa'd in the land of Karbala and cut through the ranks, they could not face him, obviously.
Right.
He reached the river, and the known story happened where he took the water, and despite being thirsty, just visualize this, brothers and sisters, the sun and the scorching sand of Karbala, the sand that is fire. There's a battle commencing, and he remembers his brother being thirsty and his children being thirsty, and he defies. He says, "I will not drink the water until my brother and the family and everyone in the camp perhaps drinks, then I will drink." And for this quality, he was commended in the ziyarah by stating, "Assalamu alayka ayyuha al-abdu al-muti'u lillahi wa li rasulih." And this is the rank that the prophets are envious of.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
I've heard that during the Battle of Karbala, the Imam, the Abu Fadl Abbas alayhi salam and Ali Akbar alayhi salam, they both made a commitment, or they both made a discussion to take out for Ali al-Akbar to take out a quarter of the rank, and Abbas take out half of the rank, and the remaining soldiers take out another quarter. And when he's done with his half, he'll come help. If he's not finished yet, he will come help him finish off the other rank with a final like play to end the battle. That's something that.
Yeah, there were strategies. There was definitely strategies put forth by al-Abbas alayhi salam, being the commander of the army, to defeat the army, and the strategies did occur. There were certain strategies, and Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam, the eldest of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, eldest sons of Imam Hussein, had also a role in getting the water. Actually, they managed to get the water several times. Al-Abbas and Ali al-Akbar and the companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam went 3 times to go collect the water. They were successful in 2 of them. They were successful, but then in the final one, they where al-Abbas alayhi salam took the role.
Yes,
he was. The story is known where he was, surrounded by the people, by the masses of the army of Umar ibn Sa'd. He had the water. He got to the water. He got the water, and he kept on fighting. And this is a very important matter. Is that he was fighting with his right hand. His sword is his right hand. His right hand was cut, as it is well known. It was amputated via a slick attack from behind. Like when he grabbed the sword with his hand, he continued to fight until his hands were, cut. Even then, the skin of water, where you put the water in, the pouch.
Yeah. Yes.
He kept on holding it. He kept on holding it and literally going through the army of Umar ibn Sa'd, despite the rocks that were thrown on him, despite the arrows. An arrow was in his eye, an arrow was in his chest, an arrow was in his arms, his legs. He became like a hedgehog almost because of the attacks and the wounds. Despite that, he kept on going until the arrow, one of the arrows, pierced the pouch where the water was in, and the water was spilt. There he stopped. Only there.
Yes.
So he was absolutely ready to sacrifice his body and himself, despite the wounds, to get the water to the camp. And he only stopped. No, he never stopped when his right hand was cut. He never stopped when the arrow pierced his eye or his left was cut, and the arrows. No, he only stopped when the water was dropped.
Wow, subhanallah, subhanallah. No, that you perfectly answered that question. So I had another question. I watch a lot of Sayyids, like English speaking Sayyids. There's a Sayyid in Scotland. He's called Sayyid 𝗦𝗨𝗣𝗣𝗢𝗧, and he basically was saying on one majalis that Ali and Akbar and Ali Salam and Abul Fadl Abbas make up some. I'm paraphrasing, but make up like the throne, the batin or the ma'rif of the light or of the throne of Allah. Or that is basically some of the essence, because of because of their qualities and their perfect basically behavioral excellence.
We do not entertain this type of rhetoric. Why is it? It is because that's our methodology here is to say, and our beliefs is to say that's which al-Muhammad alayhi have said. We begin under the school of Shaykh al-Habib, as he taught us. That we begin our speech, and recite this dua by Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam as narrated. That's to say, القول مني في جميع الأشياء قول آل محمد عليهم السلام فيما أسروا وما أعلنوا وفيما بلغني عنهم وفيما لم يبلغني. My belief and what I say in all matters is what al-Muhammad alayhim salam have said, in what they have discreted, in what they have kept a secret, and what they have declared, and in what has reached me from them, and in what has not reached me. So what we say here with regards to the merits of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam is only that which are in the narrations. I am not aware of a narration that states that Abu Fadl Abbas alayhi salam and Ali al-Akbar are the batin, or the, as far to what
make up some other quality.
Yeah, as far as to what the individual have said. Why is because I'm unable to say that, I'm unable to confirm it, because there is no narration that states as such, as per to my knowledge as of now. And I do know these type of things, and I'm aware that the individual probably did not mention it as a form of narration. He mainly mentioned it as a form of to convey the excellence of Abu Fadl Abbas and Ali al-Akbar. However, we don't see that is correct.
Right.
We say that to stick to the narrations, we have plenty of merits. The merits are there, and by no means me saying that this are not true, and the statements of the turban man, brother, the individual that you refer to, is incorrect. I mean, not ayadhan billah, belittling the status of al-Abbas or Ali al-Akbar, nothing like that, ayadhan billah.
Right.
But rather that this statement is not factual in essence from the narrations of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam.
Correct. Okay, I understood. Okay. I was gonna ask. So, what do you think about the Iranian methodology of how they exercise and practice Ahlul Bayt? Is it the correct form, or because I've heard and practice methodology of Ahlul Bayt, because I've heard in previous shows that you said, hey, if we'll disagree with somebody if they're not following the method, the correct way of al-Muhammad, Sayyid Ali Khamenei, and just because some of the ridiculous things they have said, like when it comes to not releasing the film or stuff like that, which is ridiculous.
In essence, our disputation with the government of Ali Khamenei and his representatives is not the fact that they are just against the film.
Right.
It's not really restricted to that. And, for those who are saying such matter is they haven't really watched us carefully for a long time. And I noticed that some people in the chats, they don't know these matters. They don't watch us carefully. So for them to be able to have an understanding of why we are, and I would say profoundly against Ali Khamenei and his government. Why we are against him is that not his methodology, the creed is wrong. The creed of Ali Khamenei and that which he preaches, that which he teaches, is a wrong creed that would lead to misguidance. Why is that? Is that, for example, one of the elements, other than the issues of Tawheed, which there is a very huge issue of Tawheed, Other than that, something that is more understood for the people, for the masses, is that he has a position towards the enemies of Ahlul Bayt, and he promotes them and sees them and deems them as legitimate figures and righteous individuals who made a mistake. Now, this in the creed of Ahlul Bayt is very wrong.
Right.
Our Imam 𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗓𝗦𝗧 alayhi says profoundly, كذب من ادعى ولايتنا ولم يتبرأ من عدونا. He has lied, the one who says he has loyalty to us, but does not disassociate from our enemies.
Right.
Khamenei has roads in Iran by the name of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu. May Allah be pleased with him. He has roads, Aisha bint Abi Bakr radiyallahu anha. He has roads in Iran stating, for example,
excuse me.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, did you show were you showing respect when you said like radiyallahu anhu for them, or is that right now when you were saying?
Sorry, say that
both of them
once again.
When you were saying radiyallahu anhu for Umar and Aisha. Is that something that's permissible?
No, I'm saying what he wrote on the roads.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
I am a Rafidi, brother. Don't worry.
Okay, sorry.
We do not say radiyallahu anhu for Abu Bakr. Rather, we curse him and we curse those who, profound his message despite not knowing, etc.
Has he not heard the narration that you put on?
It's not that he hasn't heard these narrations. He must know these narrations. He's a
like the one Hussein,
man. Yes, the one that Hussein alayhi salam says in the midst of Ashura, Abu Bakr and Umar have killed me. It's not like that. He doesn't know these matters. It's the matter.
Right.
The
No, I mean,
go ahead.
Sorry. I mean the one that Hussein alayhi salam said, "Get off the pulpit from my father's pulpit, you liar."
Yes, I don't know if he knows these things or not, because Khamenei is. I'm not saying this to yani trying to be insultive, but he is not a real jurist here. He's a politician. He's a very shrewd politician. But many jurists, and this is not my speech here. This is not me declaring the matter. Actual jurists have, scholars have mentioned that Ali Khamenei lacks the legitimacy to establish his marja'iyah. That is what scholars have said. But putting that aside now, putting whether aside, of course I do believe that he knows these things. I cannot perceive that he doesn't know these matters. The issue is that he does not have the creed of Ahlul Bayt. He has the creed of the early Batriyah. Are you aware of who they are?
The early Batriyah, no.
The Batriyas are a sect of the Zaydiyah. They're a Zaydi sect. Now, their creed in that regard is that they love Ahlul Bayt. They love Imam Ali. And they say that he was the first, and he is the rightful successor of the messenger, and he is the worthy of carrying the rope of the Prophet, blessings be upon him, and his family. However, Abu Bakr and Umar were mistaken in their in their step forth when they stepped ahead of Ali ibn Abi Talib. They are mistaken. However, they remain righteous scholars. They remain righteous individuals, righteous figures of the messenger, and we love them and we care for them. And there's an incident that's occurred where a group of the Batriyah, those who I just referred to, who hold this creed, that they love Imam Ali, but also love the enemies of Imam Ali, namely Abu Bakr and Umar. They went to Imam Zayn al-Abidin. Apologies, they went to Imam al-Baqir, the fifth Imam of the Shia. They went to as a delegation, and these names are very well known. His name is, for example, 𝗙𝗢𝗧𝗜𝗎𝗓, Salib ibn Abi Hafsa, and the likes. They went as a delegation to visit Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. And with Imam al-Baqir was Zayd bin Ali bin Hussein. They sat down in this gathering, and 𝗙𝗢𝗧𝗜𝗎𝗓 spoke in this gathering after saying Assalamu alaikum to the Imam, etc., etc. They sat down and then they said, "Oh Imam, oh Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam, we love Ali ibn Abi Talib and we have loyalty to him." The Imam said, "Yes," meaning that is a correct statement. Yes, that is correct. And then they said this. They said, and we also love Abu Bakr and Umar and have loyalty to them. Here, Zayd bin Ali, those who say that he was against the Rafida, he is a Rafidi, Zayd bin Ali. Zayd bin Ali spoke to 𝗦𝗦𝗕𝗦𝗧 and said, he immediately asked him, he says, do you disassociate from Abu Bakr and Umar? Because what did they say? They said that we love Abu Bakr and Umar and have loyalty to them and disassociate from their enemies. Right?
Right, correct.
Sorry.
Right.
Zayd bin Ali did not say, do you disassociate from Abu Bakr and Umar? He says, do you disassociate from Fatima? Because of this statement. They said, let me go back because I made a mistake with the phrasing. So, 𝗦𝗦𝗕𝗦𝗧 said, we love Ali ibn Abi Talib and have loyalty to him and disassociate from their enemies. Imam said, yes, meaning this is a correct statement. Then he said again, 𝗦𝗦𝗕𝗦𝗧, one of the heads of the Basriya, and we love Abu Bakr and Umar and have loyalty to them and disassociate from their enemies. Zayd bin Ali here stood up and said, do you then disassociate from Fatima? Why?
Wow.
It is because Fatima is, in essence, was opposed to Abu Bakr and Umar and died angry with them and ordered that Abu Bakr and Umar are not witnessed, they do not pray upon her janazah, not pray upon her burial. And this is why she was buried at night, and until now we don't know where her grave is. And the obstruction and this ambiguousness with regards to the grave of Lady Fatima is a clear proof that Abu Bakr and Umar are not righteous people, are rather criminals. Why? Because Fatima is angry upon them. And as Bukhari states, that the Messenger ﷺ states, who Fatima is angry with, then I am angry with them. Right?
Right.
This is no narration. Then Zayd bin Ali said this. He spoke to 𝗦𝗦𝗕𝗦𝗧 stating, you have cut our matter. You have cut our cause. May Allah cut your cause. بَتَرْتُمْ أَمْرَنَا بَتَرَ اللَّهُ أَمْرَكُمْ. And in the end of the narration, and it's narrated in Rijal al-Kashi, they said, and from that day they were called the Batriya. They were called what? The Batriya.
The Batriya.
The Batriya. And this, when Zayd bin Ali said that you have cut our cause, because our cause as Shia is what? What makes an individual a Shi'i is, number one, to have absolute obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger and the Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. Recognizing them as righteous caliphs, recognizing them as the authorities. For the first caliph is not Abu Bakr, it's Ali ibn Abi Talib. The second caliph is not Umar ibn al-Khattab, it's Hassan bin Ali. The third caliph, al-Hussein, and their sons, blessings be upon them. And this is from one wing, and the other wing is what? Is disassociation from their enemies. Bara'ah. If one removes the other wing and puts it aside and takes only loyalty to Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, although it can't be really called loyalty, because you can't have loyalty to Fatima and at the same time have loyalty to Abu Bakr. It doesn't make sense. That's like me saying I will have loyalty to Hitler and also have loyalty to Winston Churchill. It doesn't make sense. It's a clear contradiction. That doesn't happen. So if one cuts that part out, which is disassociation, he can no longer be called a Shi'i. And his tashayyu' falls into question whether he's a Shi'i really or not. Now Ali Khamenei and his government holds that creed. Ali Khamenei does not believe Abu Bakr and Umar to have, he believes them to be mistaken. He believes them to be mistaken, and that does not make him a Shi'i at all. You must have bara'ah. You must disassociate from them. Imam alayhi salam says, our Imam alayhi salam says, كذب من ادعى ولايتنا أو محبتنا ولم يتبرأ من عدونا. He has lied, the one who says that he loves us. Or they have lied, let's say, to merge between the two genders. They have lied, the one who says we love us, or they love us, and they do not disassociate from our enemies. And our Imams alayhi clearly asked us and commanded us to disassociate from Abu Bakr and Umar. Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam says that we used to teach our young to disassociate from them. Meaning this is the creed, this is the cause, as Zayd bin Ali said, the cause of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam is the wilaya, the complete authority, the complete loyalty to Ahlul Bayt and disassociation. Them coming out and cutting this association, they have cut the cause of Al-Muhammad. They have cut the cause of the progeny, and therefore we can attest and adjudge that Ali Khamenei is not upon the way of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. And this is essentially why we are against him.
Right. Oh, no. Thanks so much for that beautiful answer. Because everywhere online you will see, and I just wanted to say what brought me to you guys' channel is 𝗦𝗨𝗕𝗦𝗖𝗥𝗓𝗕𝗦𝗧 Sunnah Discourse. Sunnah Discourse. They basically brought me here and an anti-Jewish introduction, and basically and I would just recommend anybody who's watching right now, or the followers, don't go to Speaker's Corner or just random talkers to teach you about the love for Ahlul Bayt.
If you can repeat that last sentence, sorry brother, your voice is unclear.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Go ahead, inshallah.
Yeah, just if for all the people watching, don't go to Speaker's Corner or that guy what's his name, Rizvi, the Pakistani guy, or he's a Shia reformist, or just anybody, or just anybody that doesn't have a real clue of the real path of Ahlul Bayt, because it's gonna lead to a lot of misguidance. Even Sunnah Discourse, some of the videos when I first started watching them a couple of years ago, I couldn't believe them. And as soon as I found Sheikh Yasser al-Habib and other different sheikhs and sayyids, my view completely. It's really just a rabbit hole. Once you find out about Fatima, and you find out about Imam Ali's oppression, Fatima's oppression, and Ahlul Bayt's oppression, it's no going back, because it's basically you've been told a lie your whole life. And,
just to comment on this individual, Reza Rizvi Radawi.
Yep.
It was very interesting. It's very, very interesting. Is that the Bakri sect, because of their poorness, because of their, poorness and, lack of, individuals that really have knowledge, they tend to pump these individuals very much. You see, those who convert to Tashayyu', you'd realize that the majority of them are what? Are researchers. Graduates of Azhar. Like, for example, Misbah al-Darimi, or Darini. He's a graduate of al-Azhar, a researcher, a reader. He has compilations, he has books, he has establishments in America, he has mosques in America, and he's a known speaker, a known figure. He has come and embraced Tashayyu' and embraced true Islam. Again, we have the individual from Sudan, a doctor, I believe. He's a doctor in the Arabic language and Islamic sciences, and he has books, compilations.
Wow.
And he actually, authored a book, which is now accessible for people, and people are actually requesting it. Last week, an individual called requesting that book to read it. And to concise, we have the majority of those who come to Tashayyu' are researchers, are academics, are doctors, people with qualifications, people who actually research. This is why we always bring them, for example, and we tell them, what is your story, what is etc. And you realize I'm a graduate of Al-Azhar, I'm a graduate of Zaytuna, I'm a graduate of even those who are from the heart of the Nasibi country, which is Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, yep, Gulf, yep.
From their institutes come to Tashayyu', and people from Ha'il, which is an area known for Wahhabism, last year or 2 years ago, I sent a tweet. I wrote a tweet about an individual called 𝗦𝗨𝗕𝗦𝗬𝗓 al-Shimri, who came to Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, and he has a profound video where he recorded himself saying his story and then declaring his disassociation from the enemies of al-Muhammad alayhi salam. And may Allah, free him and ease his matter, for the Saudi regime have captured him and now he's in prison. just
Wow.
merely because of his declaration of loyalty and to Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam and dissociation from their enemy. So, to concise the answer is that we have these type of people. On the other side, they don't have these type of people. They don't have people who are academics, those who are actual, people of influence, people of actual, people of reverence. Those who are graduates, those who are qualified, those who have went to, houses, they have a certain, individual. Who do they mention to me? They mentioned to me Ahmed al-Khatib. Ahmed al-Khatib, who is he? Who is he? Who has heard of him, and what is his achievements, and where are his efforts? What has he done, really, truly? He's an individual who's full of doubts and full of, etc. And he's not of influence. Look at this guy. This guy was he had debated an individual online called I don't want to mention his name even. Anyway, his name is Ahmed al-Imami, I believe. His name is Ahmed al-Imami. He debated with Ahmed al-Khatib, and Ahmed al-Khatib was it's like a balloon that was popped. It's literally nothing. The guy he's stuttering with his words, he doesn't know what to say, he doesn't know how to form a proper, concise, logical arguments, and he's mixing the papers, he doesn't know how to research. He's not of that, academic regard, with all due, to be respectful to the audience. So, because they don't have these type of people, they lack this qualities of academia, etc. So they tend to pump these individuals. Now, Razavi, this guy said he came to us. He came to us here in the Maliland of Fadak. He visited us.
Wow.
Etc. Yeah. And
Yeah. I would never imagine that.
Yeah, he came here and he sat with us and he spoke with us, etc. And we were very kind to him, etc.
Okay.
And his brother. I don't know about his brother Zain. I don't know anything about them. About him. But this individual, and look, this is the problem here, is that this individual is, and I'll be honest here, I'm not going to be very, I'm going to say it, okay, sorry to say it. This individual is an ignorant, He is an ignorance. He doesn't know. The guy has not studied properly. The guy has not went through the books properly. And he steps out of his realm, out of his lane. And one should not do that. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam had actually ordered some of his companions not to engage in a debate, not to engage with the opponent sect. I'll give you a story.
Wow.
Once, you know of a companion called 𝗦𝗨𝗕𝗦𝗓𝗏?
No.
𝗦𝗨𝗕𝗏 is one of the companions of Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam and al-Kadhim. And he was a debater. He was a scholastic. He's you could say a skillful scholastic debater in ilm al-kalam, scholastic theology. He was very sharp-minded. He had debates with Abu Hanifa and left him rattled. Very, very well known in that regard. We take our studies of scholastic discourse from 𝗦𝗨𝗕𝗏 and his likes.
Wow.
He was once in the Mosque of Medina. The Mosque of Medina at the time, and he sat down. He's as a Rafidi jurist, as a Shia Rafidi jurist, a companion of Imam al-Sadiq. He sat down in his lesson, and you see the scholars of the opposite sect, from the either Hanafis or Malikis or etc. Scholars of the opposite sect. They went to him after his lesson and began to initiate in a debate with him. And the narration says this, that they were not giving him any chance. A person comes to him to say, you believe in Tahrif al-Quran. Another person say, you curse Aisha. Another person, you say, you do this, you do that. And he was answering them like a bolt. The narration says that. That you were saying, do you believe in Tahrif al-Quran, for example? You would say, no, and whoever who believes in that is a kafir, for example. And then, do you curse Aisha? Yes, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has declared her to be a hypocrite in his book, and etc. These type of answers. Very precise, very sharp, and he's known for that. He's known for the sharp-minded. Quick answers, not a lot of rhetoric.
Right.
Another companion came from the companions of not just Imam al-Sadiq, from the companions of Zayn al-Abidin. He's an individual who was a companion of Zayn al-Abidin, and Muhammad al-Baqir and al-Sadiq. What was his name? His name was Abu Khalid al-Kabuli.
Okay.
Abu Khalid al-Kabuli, an individual from Kabul, who actually played a huge role in spreading Shia Islam. And he was amongst three after the death of Hussein alayhi salam, who remained upon Islam, who remained upon true, authentic Islam. Imagine his status, yes. Imagine his status. Three Imams he has been a companion of. He's been attending to their lessons for years and years. He has become a close associate of them, a close companion. When he saw Mu'min al-Taq in that place, he was surprised. He was shocked. So he went to him in that place, whilst he's in that state where he's debating everyone, Mu'min al-Taq, and he went to whisper in his ear. He said, "Oh Mu'min al-Taq, Muhammad ibn Nu'man, why are you debating? Imam al-Sadiq had ordered us not to debate."
Correct.
In that situation, Mu'min al-Taq was like, did the Imam order you to tell me to leave? Because Mu'min al-Taq was also an obedient to the Imam alayhi salam. If that's the order of the Imam, he stands up and leaves, no matter what. Despite being in a debate. Despite being in a debate, and if he was to leave, he would weaken the Shia position, right? Despite absolutely dominating the discourse. But he was ready to, if that was the command of the Imam, he would stand up and leave immediately, without any speech. This is the command of the Imam, I stand up and leave, no matter what. Abu Khalid said, no, this is not the command of the Imam. But he had ordered me not to debate, and I presume that this, matter is, for all of the companions. Mu'min al-Taq responded to him in that fashion. He said, then go and obey him in what he has ordered you. He has ordered you. He has ordered you to take that, to not engage with the opponent sect. That is your taklif. That is your, matter. That is not my matter. Leave me to my work. Abu Khalid was deeply upset by this. He was not happy with this. So he went to Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, and he told him this. He said, this is what happened. I spoke to him, and this was the matter. This is what they said to us. This is what Mu'min al-Taq said to me. He said, told me to go obey him in that matter, and that's not for me. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam smiled and said, oh Abu Khalid, Mu'min al-Taq, if he was to fall in the debate, he would know how to exceed and fly. You, Abu Khalid, if you were to engage in a debate, if you were to fall, you would not know how to exceed nor fly. Now, here I conclude this matter. So we have an understanding. Sayyid al-Burujurdi, one of the scholars of the Shia sect, he comments on this narration to say that Mu'min al-Taq, the meaning of falling and flying and exceeding, etc. The meaning here is that Mu'min al-Taq, if he was to be put in a position in a debate that is in a triangle position, let's say, where there's no one, where there's no possible way to get out, he would know eventually how to get out. And even if he were not to get out, he would not be affected by it. Whereas Abu Khalid, if he was to be in a debate and if he was to fall, he may have doubts. He may have doubts. This is interpretation. This is interpretation of Sayyid al-Burujurdi. Now, this is the issue, brother Zaki.
Yes.
When individuals who are not, do not have a foundation, do not have a set of principles that they have acquired and have understood, and has been, enriched in their minds. This is what happens when one exceeds his limit to get into polemics without having a foundation. Namely, Raza Rezavi, he entered into this world of polemics without studying the books, without having a actual, foundation, without having a principle, without having a foundation, a qaida to which he builds upon. One cannot
He's just spewing
invincible
ignorance.
Say that again?
He's just spewing what the Catholics use the terminology, invincible ignorance.
Beautifully said. I like this term. I like this phrase.
Yes.
Because he does not have the foundation, he falls into these blunders. And the more he speaks, the more, I don't know whether to cry or laugh. I'll be honest with you. I really don't know. Am I meant to be upset, or am I meant to laugh at what he's saying? And it's good. The more he speaks, the more he reveals that he does not know. the more he speaks, he reveals that he is unacquainted with the sources and unacquainted with how to even fundamentally research, rather than debate. If you can't even يعني, substantiate your creed, and if you're going through like the basic, you don't know the basic 101s, and that is really an issue. That is very much an issue, and this is what happens. This is why Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam has ordered certain companions not to engage, because they don't have certain creed, they don't have a certain principles, they don't have a certain foundation that is strong enough for them to proceed in such debates. One must be acquainted with first his sources, then go ahead with the other sources.
Right.
Then go ahead to speak about the other sources. How can you jump through the levels? And this is the issue here. And what's very interesting, these individuals, Sunni defense, this guy Abu Nur, are you trying to take a mick? Are you trying to make a laugh? Are you trying to make a? Are you trying to joke with us? Or what's happening here? He says when he read the Quran. When he read the Quran, he came to Sunni Islam. Allah. Shall we say salawat?
Allah.
You know it was very funny. Okay.
Yes.
When he read the Quran.
Yes.
Okay. In what language did you read the Quran?
Who, me?
No, him. I'm speaking to him.
Him.
Raza, this guy.
The English language.
The English language, because he does not know,
wow.
He does not know the Arabic language. So,
right.
يعني suddenly it has come. Before they used to say that we will only discuss with individuals who have no Arabic language. I very much support them in that matter. Yes, I am with that matter, because you really cannot engage with the other sect when the original text, the original language of the texts are not accessible for you. You can't debate in that regard. You can't really have a proper understanding in that regard, especially with the Quran, the book of Allah, the book of eloquence, the book that challenges the nations to provide something alike to it with regards to eloquence.
Correct.
When he read the Quran, he came to Sunni Islam. It's like that, we have not read the Quran, we have not spent our nights reciting the Quran and learning, and going through tafsir and etc. No.
Ali?
Yes.
We need to wrap up soon.
Okay, inshallah.
Okay.
This is important.
Sorry about that.
This is our second director. This is the backup director for Subhan. He's
MashaAllah.
So it's really laughable here. It's really laughable and erroneous, especially when he gets involved in concepts that are not factual, concepts that are far from Jihad. He says things like, Aisha done ruju'. Aisha made repentance. Please, how can Aisha make repentance when it is recorded that when Imam Ali died, she fell in prostration to Allah, thanking Allah that Imam Ali has died? Very much. She had repented. Yes, she has repented. Yes, very much.
Right.
Things about did Imam Ali alayhi, how did Imam Ali alayhi salam treat Aisha? How did Imam Ali alayhi salam treat Aisha? I'll tell you how Imam Ali alayhi salam treated Aisha. He went to, according to an authentic narration in their books, in Ansab al-Ashraf.
Yes.
Let's see if I can take it out quickly. This is a very important matter. I would like to mention it.
Yes, please. Yeah, absolutely.
People don't know these matters. Let's see what happens.
Yes, and
until I find it.
I love how you talk about whenever say if somebody a woman were to portray Umar la'natullah or Abu Bakr, the Sunnis would be all over it. But if and they say anybody that disrespects the Imam of their time or the Caliph of their time is a kafir. But Aisha or Hafsa is not a kafir. That isn't. It's a.
Sorry, say that again. Once again.
The Sunnis would say anybody who opposed the Khalifa of their time would be a kafir. But then when Hafsa and Aisha opposed Imam Ali, they're not. What about them? It's a contradiction. So they just pick and choose.
Especially when our Imams alayhimus salam have mentioned Aisha to be a disbeliever. They have clearly mentioned that.
Right.
Once there was an individual who came to Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam, a Nasibi, not a Nasibi, Allahu A'lam, I can't remember the verse, I can't remember the narration very well, but the individual went to Imam Zayn al-Abidin saying, your grandfather Ali ibn Abi Talib killed the Muslims. The Imam alayhi salam began to cry. Imam Zayn al-Abidin, fourth Imam, blessings. He began to shed tears and say, hayhat. How can you say my grandfather Ali ibn Abi Talib killed the Muslims? By Allah, they were not Muslims. By Allah, they were not believers. Rather, they submitted out of fear. Something along the lines. Imam alayhi salam says that Aisha has not had a sense of belief in her heart. She's a hypocrite. She is the one who made apparent belief, but within she is not a believer. Going back to what I wanted to say regarding how Imam Ali alayhi salam treated Aisha, and this is only one of the narrations that I can pull up within the few minutes that I have left. This narration is in Ansab al-Ashraf by al-Baladhuri, Hadith 945, and he likes these Bakri narrations. I heard him say, I did not watch the full video. I watched like snippets. I could not find the time. I wanted to watch it later, but I did not go back to watch it.
Right. That's what I do too.
Yeah. And as I'm skipping here, and he says, Musannaf ibn Abi Shayba. Allah, Musannaf ibn Abi Shayba. He's very happy about the source. Subhanallah. And it's a Bakri source. And we have studied Musannaf ibn Abi Shayba. People know I've been quoting Musannaf ibn Abi Shayba for years. Anyway, this guy, it's like the more he speaks, it reveals that he is only learning these matters now. Like these, how old are you? You're, I don't know, in your 40s almost, and you're very late, my friend. You're very late, and it's best that you take a pause and go back to yourself and read, and basically start from the beginning. Start from the beginning and read from there. You're not in a position to speak right now. And secondly, how can the people, before I quote this narration, I know I'm going, a bit wide.
No, you're fine.
But it's, casual discussion. So, how can one, so right now, before he was a supposed staunch Rafidi Shi'i, yeah? Although he was really, is put in question. Before he was a Rafidi Shi'i. And now, he is not a Shia. I don't know what he is. He is like something else because
he said he's more of a Batri, like you said, Ali Khamenei.
Okay, excellent.
He doesn't regard.
He is a Batri. Yes, without a doubt. He is a Batri. And tomorrow, what will you be? How do we know tomorrow you will not be, for example, you turn to be of a different religion, of a Bakri, Nasibi, or protecting from that, and saying another religion. And people, what are the people's position here? They followed him when he was a Shia Rafida, and then they're going to follow him when he was what he is now, a Batri. And then tomorrow they'll just follow him like sheep, wherever he goes. This change is proof that the individual is not cooked properly. Okay? The individual, Imam al-Sawi, he has not built the foundation, then went. He's speaking in each and every level. He's speaking in each and every way, and he's speaking when he is not supposed to speak. Your position is doubtful. You're doubting everything. We've been through these positions, my friend. We've been through these places regarding istighatha, regarding tawassul, regarding these matters. We've been through these matters years ago. The issue here is that you do not have access to the right sources. And you take the wrong sources as hujjah. You take the wrong sources as hujjah. And you don't have access to the Arabic language, therefore how can you even come to a conclusion when you haven't read the text in its original form? Any researcher would be, in an academic, from academic perspective, if a researcher is basing a research on sources that are translated from the original, they would be straight away called out as fraud. You're not a real researcher. You're not really a real authority in that regard.
Right.
And this is one of the examples, one of the clear examples, when he says Aisha did not, how did Imam Ali treat Aisha? I'll tell you how Imam Ali treated Aisha from the authentic narration from the Sunni corpus, Bakri corpus. It is narrated in Ansab al-Ashraf by al-Baladhuri, Hadith 945, and the isnad is sahih. What is the isnad? I was told by Ahmad ibn Ibrahim al-Dawraqi from Abu Nadir. It's in English. If it's in Arabic, it's much easier.
Right, the chain narration. Hello? Hello.
So sorry, the Brother Ali's mic turned off. We'll be fixing that in just a second.
See, Shaitan doesn't want.
Just a moment, please. Stand by.
No problem. Is this Ali Shabari? Oh.
Assalamu alaikum. If you can open the card.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
You can hear me now? Can all confirm that they can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
You see, Shaitan doesn't want us to recite this narration. He's afraid of this narration. So, going back, so it's this narration is narrated in Ansab al-Ashraf by al-Baradhuri, hadith 945. I was told by Ahmad ibn Ibrahim al-Dawraqi from Abu Nadir, from Ishaq ibn Sa'id, meaning Ishaq ibn Sa'id ibn Amr ibn Sa'id ibn al-As, from Sa'id ibn Amr, from Ibn Hatib, Muhammad ibn Hatib, who is a young companion. He's a young companion of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa. And Ahmad ibn Ibrahim al-Dawraqi, Ibn Hajar said about him, trustworthy. He's a trustworthy hafiz, meaning he's a scholar. This is the first narrator. The second narrator, who is Abu Nadir, Hisham ibn al-Qasim, Ibn Hajar has said about him, the trustworthy and firm. And al-Dhahabi has said, the trustworthy hafiz, تفخر به بغداد. I've written it in English, meaning Baghdad is proud of him. This is Ibn al-Nadir. Ishaq ibn Sa'id ibn Amr ibn Sa'id ibn al-As, both Ibn Hajar and al-Dhahabi declared him to be trustworthy. Ibn Hatib, Muhammad ibn Hatib, Ibn Hajar said a young companion. So he's a companion of the Messenger of Allah, meaning he's above being trustworthy. He's a companion بعد رضي الله عنه وأرضاه. As far as even according to their standard. So Ibn Hatib, the young companion, says this, and he's a Shia. He says, I accompanied Ali on the day of the camel. So this individual, Muhammad ibn Hatib, was present in the battle of the camel. So he tells us, how did Imam Ali alayhi salam treat Aisha? I accompanied Ali on the battle of the camel to the carriage of Aisha. The carriage of Aisha, which was on the camel. Which looked like the spike of a porcupine because of the arrows which had pierced it. The carriage of Aisha looked like a porcupine. Just imagine the scene. And who was firing these arrows towards Aisha's carriage? Who?
Muhammad ibn Hanafiya? No, I wouldn't know.
The soldiers of Imam Ali, the Rafida at the time.
Yes.
The Rafida at the time, the Shias of Imam Ali, the soldiers of Imam Ali were firing towards Aisha's carriage.
Carriage, yes.
Carriage becomes like a porcupine, meaning, which tells us that Aisha was in the midst of the battlefield. She was the leader of the battlefield. She is the target here.
Right.
It looked like as a spike of a porcupine because of the arrows which has pierced it. Ali, blessings be upon him. So Ali went after the battle had finished, and after his army has controlled the scene, controlled the area. He went to Aisha. What did he say to her? Did he say, "Oh al-Mu'mineen, you are the mother of the believers. You came out and they tricked you, Talha and Zubayr. You must go return. I will return you to Medina." And she said, "Yo, thank you very much. Yes, they tricked me, and I'm very sorry, and I want to go back to Medina." Is that what happened? No, that is not what's happened. Ali ibn Abi Talib had a cane in his hand, had a stick, and he struck the carriage of Aisha. struck it. And this is the strike of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Just imagine how it shook the carriage. Okay.
Right. I hear narrations. One strike is all Imam Ali need. Always, one strike would kill somebody.
Exactly. Yeah. ضرباته كانت وتر. He's the way he fights was he strikes would kill a man. He doesn't need to strike once again.
Yes.
He struck the carriage of Aisha because the carriage of Aisha had fell. The camel's legs were cut. Aisha's carriage fell on the ground, and with it was Aisha. Aisha's fallen on the ground, and she has a arrow that has pierced her bicep. Aisha.
Wow.
Yeah, this is the arrows of the Rafida. They don't miss. At least they.
Right.
So they hit the Imam Ali Hassan hits the carriage of Aisha and says, "He ya Humayra." He says, this Humayra of Iram ذات العماد, from the Quran, إرم ذات العماد الذين طغوا في البلاد. This Humayra of Iram wanted to kill me as she killed the son of Affan. This Humayra is degrading her. He is saying that she is الذين طغوا, that she's a tyrant. That's Aisha is a tyrant. This is what Imam Ali alayhi salam is saying.
Right.
Her brother Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr, a Rafidi, despite being son of Abu Bakr, said to her, "Are you injured or something? Has something hit you?" She replied, "An arrow has pierced my bicep, my arm." Then Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr put his head into the carriage and pulled out the arrow. This is the narration in its full text.
Wow.
From this narration, can we say that Imam Ali alayhi salam respected Aisha and returned her peacefully? He returned her peacefully without a doubt. But did he say, "Oh, you are the mother of the believers," and recognize that she is, etc.? How did Imam Ali treat Aisha? This is how Imam Ali treated Aisha. He ya Humayra, you wanted to kill me, like you killed the son of Affan, like how you gave out a verdict to kill 𝗬𝗓 for he has disbelieved, Uthman ibn Affan.
Right.
So the reality of the matter is this individual, in essence, he's a doubtful individual. He's full of doubts. He has not a ground to lay upon, and he will change. He will change, and he will continue to change, and he will proceed to change. This is a place where he was before, and where he is now. He is going to change, and he's going to develop new creed and new understandings, etc. Because he is still, frankly, a child in that road. In that road, he doesn't. He's not, a authority for one to take from. And I would really recommend him, if I was going to be honest between him and Allah, to give him an advice for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because inshallah he's a good man. Don't let your new fame and
I think that's what it is. Yes.
Yeah, your عناد, your
popularity, acceptability.
Yes, staunchness in your new position deter you from seeing truth.
Right.
Revise yourself. Revise your creed. Go and seek, firstly learn Arabic, please, and seek knowledge in the correct way, and be honest between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tara wallah, what an embarrassment that you would face Sahib Zaman Salatullah alayhi, our awaited Imam alayhi salam, after all of this, the awaited Imam of our time, and this is what happened to you. Or how embarrassing would you be? How embarrassing would you be? How shameful would you be when you be on the day of judgment and you are faced by your grandmother, Lady Fatima alayhi salam, whilst you try to defend Umar ibn al-Khattab from attacking her? How embarrassed and how shameful shall you stand?
Shameful, yes.
How shameful shall you stand? Seriously, I really advise this individual to revise himself.
Right.
At the end of the day,
brother,
yeah, go ahead.
I just had a quick kind of yes or no question. So I know this is true, but somewhat is Imam Ali the person that is that we're going to see after death, alayhi salam, that we're going to see after death, after we die? Is he the close? Because I know he is the divider of and the day of destruction. I'm the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, divider of heaven and hell. But is Imam Ali the person that we're going to see after we die?
There are narrations, yes, that's if the mu'min, the believer,
yes,
the one who has loyalty to Imam Ali alayhi salam sees Imam Ali, or Imam Ali alayhi salam visits him in his grave and intercedes for him.
Wow.
This is some of the narrations that we have. Actually, we have a number of narrations that regard. And definitely, he is the divider. He is the one who distinguishes between the believer and the hypocrite. And this matter can be established from their books, for it is narrated in Sahih Muslim, where Imam Ali alayhi salam says, وَالَّذِي فَلَقَ الْحَبَّةَ وَبَرَأَ النَّسَمَةَ إِنَّهُ لَعَهْدُ النَّبِيِّ الْأُمِّيِّ إِلَيْهِ أَلَّا يُحِبَّنِي إِلَّا مُؤْمِنٌ وَلَا يُبْغِضَنِي إِلَّا مُنَافِقٌ. It is by the one who split the seed and created the soul, created the spirit. It is the promise of the Messenger of Allah to me, that none shall love me but a believer, and none shall hate me but a hypocrite. And in that regard, he is the one who divides between a believer and a munafiq. So he is the one who divides between the one who enters paradise and the one who enters hell. For Ali is most certainly the Furqan. Most certainly, he is the Faruq.
Right. And brother, I was gonna ask. So a lot of the Irani Shias, they will say that they have sayyids that did karamat. I know. I seen his eminence Sheikh Yasser al-Habib. I know when he was in Bahrain in the jail, he said that he called upon the name of Abbas, and sure enough, that he was released. And I'm not referring that to a karamat, but can karamats is karamats possible? Can it happen? I know there was a Mukhtar al-Thaqafi, or the first person that visited Imam Hussein alayhi salam grave, that he was Mukhtar al-Thaqafi. I don't know if it was him or the first person that visited his Imam grave. The one that they say the one that got the salam back to him. He said salam ya Mawlati Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, and Imam Hussein replied back to him saying hello my son, or something along those lines. So I don't know if is there karamats that can happen in real time life, like transportation. I mean teleportation, or that's some of the examples I've heard others saying. Like some say it can have karamats, or just yeah.
Karamat, the definition of karamat is different to that which you mentioned, teleportation.
Right, kind of like Imam Ali, right, miracle when the sun turned back for him.
These the sayyids and the karamat, etc. If you was to go, for example, to ask them to pray for you, for example, a karama in essence, it is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives a certain individual a certain status where they can, if they were to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for example, they would answer. For example,
right?
It's not really a necessity that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would answer. It's also an obligation upon him. May exalted be he.
Right.
With regards to the sayyids over here, why go to the sayyids when we have Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam? We can go to the righteous scholars without a doubt. Just like when one, you see, that happens also when one is ill, when one has, for example, a mental illness. And this matter is also with the Muslims also worldwide. Also Bakri sects do this, where if there's a child that is ill, they will take him to a scholar in order for him to place his hand on his head, and we need to conclude the show. Inshallah, we will give us 5 minutes. Inshallah, we'll conclude. Where the child will be taken to the scholar, and the scholar would recite certain Quran on his head, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to cure him. وَنُنَزِّلُ فِي الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءً. We have revealed in the Quran that which is a cure for the believers, right? We believe in that. That's not an issue. In that essence, that is fine. When one goes to a sayyid, for example, when one goes to a scholar and he says, oh scholar, please pray for me, or recites on my head, or etc., that is fine. There's no issue in that, because in essence, you don't believe that he has the karama. It's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who he's asking. You're merely asking him to pray for you because he has, spent his life getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, spent his, for example, age, and has, sought to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you say, you pray for me. Just like when you ask brothers and sisters when you to pray for me, to pray for you.
Right.
Don't you say, oh brother, I have, I have a exam tomorrow, please pray for me to pass this test, etc. This is not a problem. But these matters that say, for example, I take water and I, recite on it certain things and I spit in it and these stuff have certain practices are not true. Okay, they're not authentic. Even in the Bakri sect, and alike in the Shia sect, we don't believe in these matters. No. But in essence, that we go to these scholars to tell them to pray for us, as we ask anyone to pray for us, that's not an issue. Except that this scholar, because he's a religious figure, we ask him, and perhaps Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will answer. In that regard.
Correct. Okay, right. Thank you so much for the wonderful time.
Before we conclude, I would really love you to tell us your story, even though if it's a quick manner, you can take your time, inshallah. Tell us your story of how you came to Tashayyu' and when did you initiate research, and perhaps inshallah your story could be an inspiration for many inshallah around the world.
Yes. So I grew up as East African, like I said, background, Cushitic background. And basically, brother, about 2 years ago, I found out first, where I found out was Sayyid Ammar Naqshbandi, was from him a little bit. And then as I kept researching, developing,
Sorry, can you repeat that? Can you say that once again?
Yeah, first I went through first it was kind of like Sunni defense, where it kind of brought me to what is the Ahlul Bayt, and because before that I was like 24 years old. I never knew anything about Ahlul Bayt or anything about what Shias believe, and I almost kind of believed what they were kind of spewing. But then I found Sayyid Ammar Naqshbandi, because he's pretty popular online when it comes to just his numbers. And he was the first person I was able to introduce. And when I just started listening to the battles while I was like at work, or just whenever I had free time on my headphones, listen to the battles by Imam Ali, and it fascinated me, intrigued me. And once I went there, I started listening to all the biographies of the 12 Imams. Imam Hassan Hussein, alayhi salam, Zain al-Abidin, Muhammad al-Baqir, Ja'far al-Sadiq, Imam Musa al-Qadim, and Imam al-Rida, Imam Muhammad al-Hadi, Ali Muhammad and Ali Hassan al-Askari.
Muhammad al-Jawad.
Oh, Muhammad al-Jawad, yes, alayhi salam. And Imam Hassan al-Askari, and Sahib al-Asri was the man. I didn't have a biography. I didn't have a biography of him yet. I don't know too much about him yet. But basically, I once I learned about the biographies and what they what they believed in and stood for, I was just astonished by their knowledge and their wisdom and basically, honestly, wallahi, brother, what took me away from. And I know, because you use this term, don't say Sunni because.
Sorry, say that again. Once again, your voice is a bit away from the speaker or from the phone.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know you use this term like don't use this word Sunni for them, but it is because we are on the Sunnah, we are on the true Sunnah.
Correct.
And basically, when I found out, what really took me and involved me super sternly on Tashayyu was when I heard about the oppression of Lady Fatima, and especially Lady Zainab and all the young children and women of Imam Hussein's camp, and that just kind of I don't know if this is a true narration, but if they say if a person cries one time. So that made me that was the first time I probably cried for something outside of I I never really cried ever in my life. So that was the first time I got emotional about something, and I took a stern stance that that women are precious, and that anybody that would oppress any woman in general, especially the woman al-Habib would should be crushed. And once and then I started learning more about Imam Ali, and he honestly, him and al-Fadl Abbas. I don't know if you're supposed to have favorites or anything, but they're just honestly, they're just so I'm just so fascinated by them, just their lives and how they. And I know the one who was in perfect union because the Sunnis, because even my parents would even use Imam Ali and Fatima as an analogy to say that hey, he was called Abu Turab because they used to fight so much that he used to go to the mosque. And when I found out the truth, I was kind of like disappointed in my parents, just saying those kind of or just disappointed in just people just saying those type of lies about Imam Ali and Fatima. And I learned that a perfect relationship could work if you follow the steps of Imam Ali, and basically what my brother just seeing things for what it is, the rabbit hole that once you see the oppression of Fadak, the oppression of Lanatullah Umar, what he did to Fatima, and Abu Bakr Lanatullah alayhi, what they both did. It was honestly more, and then all the imams too, Imam Rida and especially even like one of the Abbasi caliphs when he destroyed the shrine of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam like five or more times. Just all those points just made my faith stronger because I didn't want to associate with people that took me away from the truth and gave me a false sense of belonging or security that I was gonna have a salvation when salvation was really based on Madrasatul Khadir.
Madrasatul Khadir. No.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Brother, may Allah bless you and grant you paradise with Ali ibn Abi Talib, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam, and the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, those who you love dearly.
Yes.
And if you was to send a message to those who were Bakri, what would you say?
I would honestly say, don't listen to any of those speaker corners or some of these different sayyids that kind of follow along the line of their own mysticism or their own just fame or notoriety. Go after follow the people that like His Eminence Sheikh Yasser al-Habib and the lion Ali al-Habib. And are you saying astaghfirullah for you?
Yeah, I'm not worthy of such title.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. You guys represent the faith so strongly, and I really respect that, and I admire that. And so just following the right people that have the right conception and the right perception of it, because people can gaslight you to very, very dark methodologies, and and a lot of people, I feel like a lot of Batris don't know or Bakris don't know the real truth, or don't know even the Ahlul Bayt like that. And if they do, they just they find out their own little perception of it, and just really being a truth seeker. That's and just asking questions, because Islam, it's one of those things where pondering, and how it says in the Quran. So use your aql, use your intellect. Don't let some sheikh in Saudi Arabia give you tell you what to do for your whole life. Even I really love the stance where you pray 3 times a day, because And Sunnis it's 5 times a day, where 3 times is much more, for work life and family life. It's very beautiful. It's a very good thing, And I know
you mean 5 times a day, but in three different times.
Yes.
3 different
Yeah,
times.
3 different times.
Okay, okay, I understand.
Yeah, and I know the true Shia is, I don't know if this is true, but I heard some narrations like you're supposed to pray like 51 times or 52 times.
Yes, it is mustahab. It is greatly mustahab to pray 51 rak'at.
Yes.
51 rak'at.
Right, and just
these are the nawafil, the between the obligatory prayers and the obligatory prayers combined like salatul layl, nafilatul dhuhr, nafilatul asr. These are mustahab, like recommendable actions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would reward for, not obligatory.
Right. I just wish I had a majlis, or a jama'at I could be held, go to be held accountable, because the city I'm in, there's no such thing as that. We do have like Arabic, like Gulf, like Bahraini or Shias, but they mostly keep to themselves and kind of thing. And
inshallah, contact the number that you have, the number that you called on, message us on it, and we will inshallah link you with brothers that we have from America. We have a lot of brothers, mashallah. We have a lot of converts, or alike, many converts. And
yes.
Where are you? Where do you live exactly? In what state?
In Minnesota.
Minnesota. I believe inshallah we can link you with some of the brothers. We have some brothers in Michigan. We have many brothers. We have brothers in Florida. We have brothers in New York. In the other state that begins with, I forgot the other state, but we have a lot of brothers. I'm sure that we can, one way or another, hook you up, inshallah, link you with the brothers for you to build yourself and build a relationship with them, inshallah. No worries, rest assured.
Right.
And if anything, we are here for you, inshallah. We are your brothers. We are your family, inshallah.
Yes, thank you so much, brother. I just, and I just want, more people from Africa to accept, East African, where the majority Muslims countries are, to, understand, to show you and understand who Imam Ali is, and the 𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗓𝗦 and the successorship and the leadership that he was given, and to his sons, because you only have one life, and during the Yawm al-Qiyamah, you will regret it more than you ever would know. Just having that ishq of Ahlul Bayt, and just the endless love for them, and disassociating from their enemies, because
yes. May Allah bless you and accept from you. And inshallah, I'm sure that we would hear from you in the future, where you would be, inshallah, an inspiration for many brothers and sisters from the Bakri sect to wake up and realize that the world are coming to Tashayyu'. Everywhere, from each and every spot on earth, there are Shi'as and people who have converted to Tashayyu'. And certainly, Shi'ism and Tashayyu' for Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. And disassociating from their enemies from another wing is the future without a doubt.
Yes.
May Allah bless you and accept from you, Brother Zaki, and it was an honor, absolute honor, to speak to you and discuss with you and hear your story to Shia Islam.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, dear brother.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, the brothers and sisters who are watching this live stream and watching this video from the Sunni sects, from those who refer to themselves as Sunnis, can heed from the lesson of Brother Zaki and follow his footsteps in research and critical thinking. And inshallah, one day you would find yourself upon clarity and upon certainty, believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the way one should believe in Him, exempting Him, the Exalted, from things that are not befitting. And alike, believing in the messenger, and in the perfect form as one should believe in him. Negating and absolutely rejecting the narrations of Aisha and Abu Bakr, Abu Hurairah, Anas bin Malik in that regard, where they defame the messenger and represent him in a very unpleasant way. And one believes in Ahlul Bayt, Ali ibn Abi Talib, Fatima, Hassan and Hussein, taking the means of religion from them. For this is what indeed the Messenger of Allah has commanded us in the Hadith of 𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗕𝗦𝗖𝗥𝗓, where he ordered us in his final will, 2 months before he died, withhold to the Quran, the book of Allah, and my family, my Ahlul Bayt, for they shall never separate until they meet me at the fountain of Kawthar. We call the Muslims worldwide to withhold to these weighty things, for this is the only way to achieve certainty and clarity. And insha'Allah, our unification is upon that river where we drink from the fountain of Kawthar by the purified water given to us by the purified hand of the messenger and his commander Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. Until next time, inshallah, until our next show, we conclude here. I remember the question of Brother Zaki, which I did not manage to answer in this show due to shortage of time, regarding the intercession of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, and what is the right way to seek intercession from them. Inshallah, we would respond to this question in a show, in the next show, or perhaps in a video that we record especially for that matter. And until next time, inshallah, it has been a pleasure to house you in this show. هذا وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على قتلتهم وأعدائهم أجمعين.